what is this? This plays in my head all the time. Okay. I'm telling you, like, I'll walk around my house and do that tune, and I'm like, where is that coming from and why? Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Alexis Burton. Thank you for being here. Today is going to be a little bit different. We are days away from 2026. Yay! Insert drum roll. And I was at my friend Mitch's house the other day and talking about deciding what I wanted to do this podcast on, because I knew I knew I was filming, and I was kind of up in the air in a few topics, and it just kind of hit me because my ideas were toxic family or toxic relationships. And I thought, do I really want to go down the road of ending 2025 on a kind of a negative note? And I don't. I really, really don't. So what I have decided is to kind of just shape this podcast around my reflections from 2025 and the lessons and blessings that I've kind of had over the year, which started in multiple years back, but maybe I just learned this year or broke the pattern this year or whatever. But it'll be a brief synopsis of each. So if there's any topic that I touch on that maybe speaks to you or that you'd like me to talk in depth on, please DM. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, email. You have several options there. Just reach out and I will gladly expand on anything that I'm talking about tonight. But again, it's going to be a brief kind of synopsis of some of the lessons and blessings that I've learned over 2025. And in numerology, if you follow numerology, it's a 9-year, which is the end of cycles, which means 2026 is a 1 year, which is new beginnings. And I am embracing that wholeheartedly. So I'm excited for 2026. So this is my reflection of 2025, and I highly, highly, highly suggest, if you have not reflected on your 2025, the good, the bad, the ugly, do that. I think it's really healthy. I think it's important for us to really kind of jot down our ideas of what we went through and just kind of where we're at and how far we've come, because I know I am not the same person that started January 1, 2025, that is ending December. I guess today's the 29th, but you get my point. So in no particular order, I want to start with boundaries. Boundaries was a big thing. I learned about it in school and the importance of it and all of the things. And that could be 2, 3, 4 podcasts in itself, because it is very in-depth. But I learned the importance of having boundaries, and it's not necessarily about the boundary itself. It's more about the consequence to somebody overstepping the boundary and your willingness to uphold that consequence. It's easy to say, if you continue to holler at me during an argument, I'm going to break up with you, or I'm going to leave, or whatever. And then you say those things, and if you don't follow through, then you're teaching people to walk all over you and that you're not consistent. And you have to be consistent. You have to kind of follow through. So boundaries was a really big one for me. I also learned, this one's a tough one, about people pleasing. I mean, I knew about people pleasing, and I knew I was a people pleaser. But for me, in order to understand and let go of people pleasing, the behavior, I had to understand the why. I needed the deeper why am I a people pleaser? And I found out, which is, again, I'm not going to get into today, but one of the standout facts for me for people pleasing was that it is actually extremely selfish. And whenever I say that in sessions to my people pleaser clients, they're always like, How? How is that? That doesn't make sense." And granted, on the surface, it really doesn't make sense, because on the surface, you're looking at, I'm pleasing others. I'm sacrificing myself to please others. But if you look at the intent of people pleasing, that's kind of where it gets more on the selfish end. So people pleasing is actually really selfish because it's about the intention. I am doing or saying or whatever the behavior or action is because I learned that love was conditional. I grew up, I was taught love was conditional. If I was a good girl, I was loved. If I was a bad girl, I was not loved, or I didn't feel loved. And that is what made me a people pleaser, but also made me abandon myself and, oh, if I bake the 3 dozen cookies for the school bake sale, so and so, the PTO president's not going to be, they won't be disappointed, and they'll like me or love me or whatever, so it's all about intention. So I learned that, and now I am a reformed people pleaser. I learned no. I highly suggest everybody out there learns the same. No. I also learned, and nobody prepared me for this. My daughter graduated from high school in May, and I cried for a solid week. Nobody prepares you for the grief that you feel when your kids complete things like graduation or moving out or whatever it is, that empty nest syndrome. I learned that was really hard, and I learned to process that, and took me by surprise, honestly. I was so proud of her and so incredibly sad for myself because I knew she was starting her adulthood journey, and I just pray that I helped prepare her the best I could. I know the holidays really were just here, and one of the common themes was toxic family or unhealed family, or however you want to phrase it. You can put a hat on a pig; it's still a pig. Toxic family. I try to avoid this topic because I did not grow up in the best environment. I grew up in a very emotionally neglectful environment, which took its toll, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And oftentimes when I talk about childhood trauma with my clients, I get the same reaction. I get, "Oh no, my family was normal. Like, I wasn't beat, or I wasn't sexually molested, or no, I didn't have any trauma." Well, there's big T and little t trauma. And to explain that to people, really, I don't know many people that don't have some form of childhood trauma, which is the root of a lot of our issues, I believe. But so I truly, because we're just coming out of the holiday season and it's a trigger point for a lot of people, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, whenever you're around family, you're usually triggered because that's what they do. I don't have any family here. I reached out to most of my family, but didn't really have anybody necessarily reach out to me. But I'm used to that, and that is a lesson I learned years ago, not to carry that. But I am of the firm belief that just because you're related by blood does not mean you have to have a relationship, which is where boundaries kind of come in to play there. I don't think you have to have a relationship with your loved ones. If they're making you feel some kind of way, or neglecting you in some kind of way, or abusing you, whether it's verbal, physical, psychological, it doesn't matter. I don't think blood ties you or obligates you. Very controversial topic. Sure, I'll get a lot of flack for that, but it's just how I feel. And then that leads me into the toxic relationships. I didn't end it. I was dumped. But I've had several toxic relationships. And 2025 was really a year of me discovering certain patterns that I had in that toxicity and taking my own accountability because I'm not perfect. And I understand that I play a very significant role in that and will not be taking that into 2026. But what I learned, I think the biggest lesson in love was how to love myself, how to choose myself and no longer abandon myself. And my last relationship really taught me that you can love somebody, but that doesn't mean that they're going to love you back or even be able to meet you where you're at, which was really hard. That was a hard lesson for me this year. It took me a little bit to kind of get over it and to let it go, but I learned to let it go, and I'm not taking that with me in 2026. So I'm very excited about that. Let me see. What are some other manifestation was actually a really big one. Now, I've known about manifestation for a long time. Some people believe in it, some people don't, and that's fine. I am a walking proof of manifestation. If you don't believe me, talk to some people that know me. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. But 2025, I started really, my career was just kind of taking off. I had been doing it for, a little bit as a student before, but my career, and I really wanted to focus on my career. And I set out the intention that I was going to be successful. I wanted to be successful. Also in the podcast, which is another manifestation. Had this dream years ago and would constantly, as far as manifestation for myself goes, some of you have heard me say you have to feel it to heal it. I feel like manifestation's similar. Not that you have to feel it to heal it, but you have to feel the excitement. You have to kind of live it like you already have it. And I did that. I did that with when I was dreaming of the podcast and what that was going to look like, and like kept just envisioning and feeling the excitement and all of the things and the amazing guests that I wanted to interview and all of the topics that I wanted to cover and all the things, but I would feel it. I would feel the excitement. I was like in it I just was really in the moment whenever I would kind of focus on that, manifest it. And here we are at the end of so huge blessing. I truly believe God put exactly the people in my path this whole year that I was supposed to learn and grow from. And I exactly did that. And I am so excited for 2026. I can't wait to see the opportunities and to see the growth, not only in my clients and the people that I counsel, but also in the podcast realm, in my personal and family life. I'm excited to see what my daughter is going to do. I'm genuinely choosing excitement over anxiety. Typically, I might be a little bit anxious going into the new year. Oh, what's it, not trying to control basically, which is anxiety, but it was more of a coming from a I don't know what to expect, what's going to happen. I don't have a plan, my goals, and just kind of like, but what if, that ego anxiety aspect of things. And this year I am choosing excitement. It's viscerally or somatically or however you want to say it, the same response in your body as far as heart palpitation. I've talked about this before, sweaty palms, whatever, as far as anxiety and excitement. In 2026, I choose excitement. I am so excited for what's to come. I am so, so, so grateful. And that is another um, blessing is learning gratitude, learning to be able to find the positive and be grateful for it in any situation, literally any situation. Um, that gratitude, you got to live in gratitude for sure. Um, I had another one and it just went foop, ADHD brain. Um, but blessings and just going into 2026 with a clear heart, a clear mind, and a vision and a feeling of what's to come. I cannot tell you how important it is to reflect on how far you've come. I see it in my clients all the time. They'll sit down and they're like, "Can you?" I had it today. I had my client first thing this morning. I haven't seen her in 2, 3 months, maybe. She sat down. She was like, "Can you believe how far we've come in the year and a half I've been seeing you?" And I'm like, "Girl, I'm so proud of you." And that, like, look where we get to look forward to. Look what there is to look forward to going forward. Because a year and a half ago, you would have never been sitting here and saying, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to start a 501(c)(3) nonprofit and I'm going to like the leaps and bounds, and it brings so much joy to me, and I'm so grateful for all of my clients, for my colleagues and my friends, and all of the love and support. Um, I challenge you this ending of 2025 to leave behind the parts of you that need to be left. Learn, grow, don't repeat the cycle. If you don't learn from it, you will repeat it over and over and over again. Don't do that. Take it from me, who has repeated many, many, many cycles and has finally learned some very valuable lessons this year in life and love. It's not worth it. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. And you're worth more than that. Love yourself. That old cliche saying, in order to love anybody else, you have to first love yourself, is actually very true. And I believe that was also Jesus' message to bring religion in. But I believe that Jesus talked about self-love. Self-love. You have to love yourself before you can love others. And once you love yourself, then you can sow the seeds in others. Now, it is not your responsibility to make those seeds grow. Lead by example. Lead by example. And I try to do that. My mantra for this year, for 2025, was I want to leave people better than I found them. That was my mantra this year. I want to leave people better than I found them. And I think for the most part, I mean, I'm not perfect. I would say I achieved that. So I'm looking forward to what 2026 has to bring. And I challenge you to do the same. Choose excitement. Choose joy. I choose joy every day. For Christmas this year, I'm a very crafty person. It's, I don't know, feeds my soul. A lot of people don't know that about me, but yeah. Anyway, so for Christmas this year, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this. For the last few Christmases, because I've been in kind of some crappy relationships and, been kind of weighed down, I didn't really celebrate it. I loved Christmas. It's some of the happiest childhood memories that I have. So I love the music and I love the lights and I love all of the things. The Muppets Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas movie. People think I'm weird, but it's nostalgia for me. It it fills my heart. Anyway, this year I chose to enjoy Christmas. I chose to decorate my house, whereas in the past few years I didn't really. I chose to go see A Christmas Carol at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta. I chose to go see Christmas lights. I chose to do a baking day. I chose joy. I chose what made my heart happy. And for 2026, that is what I want for you. I want you, even if it's something so small, choose joy. If you love baking, bake. If you like reading, read. If you like helping people, volunteering, then do that. Do what makes your heart sing. That's how I'm going into 2026. I'm choosing joy. I'm going to continue to choose joy. And I pray that you all follow me on this amazing journey down these amazing rabbit holes. We have some great guests coming in January. We're already booking several. So stay tuned. And please, please, please like, follow, share. Like I said before, we are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of the things. And if there's a topic that you want me to cover, anything that I've talked about tonight, or any topic that you kind of want some insight on, please DM. Thank you for being here.